Usenu Dabo, ba Usenu Dabo, they are causing us the problem. They are the one causing us the problem.
Bachili accuses UDP of holding the country to ransom as constitutional talks are not taking promising lead. The UN urges South Sudan to step up its 2018 peace deal, saying the delay threatens the country's stability. And police units setting up strategies to combat skyrocketing criminal acts in Gambia. These and more coming on The World Today. Stay with us. Good evening. You're watching the World Newscast with me, Sohna Tunkara, and now to our news in detail. iAfrica TV can reliably confirm that the final talks of Gambia's embattled draft constitution has failed after the nation's political leaders failed to find a common ground for the fourth time. And to Musa Yali Bachili, the leader of the Gambia Action Party, UDP is the one to be blamed for the failure. Bachili accuses UDP of holding the country to ransom. We have more in this excerpt.
The outcome of mine when they bring the amendments to us in the next 14 to 15 days, and then the whole Gambia will know. But as we stand, it's a big fight between Barrow versus UDP. You understand?
What is the fight centered on?
This is all about the retroactivity. It's centered on that, and it is so sudden that I cannot even explain to you, because if our leaders cannot sacrifice a little thing like this in order to have a third republic constitution, are we calling ourselves leader? Then no, we are calling ourselves power hungry. So if I'm President Barrow, with due respect, and if he believes he's going to win the next election, let it sacrifice in order for us to have the third republic. Usenu Dabo and UDP team, they are causing us the problem. They are the one causing us the problem. And I'm urging them, if they believe that they will win the election, why all these talks? For us, Bachili, we know that we're going to win the election, inshallah. So that's what we agreed. All times they bring, we agreed. Come December 4th, December 5th is yours in the State House. But I think and I believe the paranoia of what's going on, the UDP are scared. That's why they're holding us a ransom. And if the president believes in himself that he's going to win, let it go. And if he sacrifices for the interests of the Gambia, we GAP-led government will join hands together with him, and we move this country. Seriously, but the facade, it's all power hungry.
Now, what do you think the Gambian people can learn from this?
The Gambian people can I'm telling the Gambian people to be very mindful whom they're going to choose as their leader. Do not follow someone because he's handsome, he's good looking, he can talk, he's giving you a bag of rices, bag of sugars, bag of oil. No, listen to the vision of that person and see the good heart of that person. A good mindset and proper positive mindset and good heart. If that person has that, give your vote to him. Some of our leaders, I'm honest, I'm telling you, you know me, I'm controversial. Some of the leaders, they don't care about Gambia. All they care is the position to be called as a president. This is my problem with some of the leaders. So, you hold ransom more UDP. Led by who? Bawusen Dabo. Bawusen Dabo, I'm your son. If you believe in yourself that you win the election December 4th, you know, why are you paranoid? Why are you paranoid? Let it go, and then we face each other December 4th and see what's going to happen. Until then, the next government is...
That is Musa Bachili accusing the United Democratic Party of being the main obstacle to the revival of the draft constitution. Now, moving on, over the years, Gambia has seen an increase in series of criminal activities relating to murder and armed robbery. These criminal activities has instilled fear and insecurity among the populace in the small West African country, despite security strategies implemented by the police force. iAfrica TV's Ndai Sise engaged the police PRO for enlightenment, and she files in this report.
Reports of residential crimes such as pickpockets, theft in crowded and isolated areas in the Gambia have increased. These criminals mostly target victims based on perceived vulnerability by threatening them with violence. The police PRO Lamin Jai said they are aware of these crimes and are doing patrols across the country as a means of providing security for the people.
We are equally very concerned about crime happening within the country, and that is why we are putting up a lot of strategies to ensure that we prevent crime as much as possible. And if it happens that crime occur anywhere, we are able to apprehend the offenders. And so we are doing patrols all over the country. This is why we are doing night and daily patrols to ensure that we are on top of criminal activities.
In the wake of high crime rates, the police anti-crime unit was set up in almost all police stations across the country. Although the issue of organized crime is less prominent in the Gambia than other nations in Africa, but it does present a serious issue for the country and its citizens. As part of efforts to mitigate the high crime rates, Mr. Njai said community policing has been introduced to address the situation.
So equally, we are very concerned, and that is why we also employ strategies of community policing to deal with issues about theft within the communities. Not just theft, but crime in general, because community policing has proven to be a very effective strategy to be able to deal with different forms of safety and security issues within communities. And that is to have people involved and engaged in their own safety and security, working and collaborating with the police.
In the Gambia, crimes of various natures are being conducted by citizens and foreigners almost every day. Reports show that underemployment and poor economic growth has contributed to the rise in crime rates in the country. Statistics on problem property crimes, such as vandalism and theft in the Gambia, moderates for about 56.25 in 2020. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Ndai Sise.
From that report by Ndai Sise, we move on to matters of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, as two witnesses appeared before the Truth Commission on Thursday to testify on the dead bodies found in Brufut, Ghana. Ole Sam and Kalilu Jallo were both PIU officers deployed at Brufut, Ghana PIU station when the incident occurred. And according to them, they were informed by an old man that corpses were discovered in the bush. They also highlighted the state at which the dead bodies were found.
Cross-section of civilians and law enforcement agents continue to testify and reveal what they know about the 2005 alleged massacre of the West African migrants. Mr. Kalilu Jallo testifies that upon receiving information that dead bodies were found at the bush, they were immediately asked by their boss, Omar Fadera, to visit the crime scene and confirm the information. According to him, he believes that the victims were either hit by a heavy object or were shot.
Anyway, when we arrived there initially and the state that I saw the first victim, I could not imagine what weapon was used because of the condition that I saw the person in it. Most time I don't know. At first I thought either he was hit by a hammer or a bullet because of the state that he was in.
Olisam reveals that in her observations, she believed that the nationality of the corpses found were not Gambians by virtue of the tribal marks they had on them.
I can recall there were some scars, some tribal marks, yes. Some tribal marks, yes. Those tribal marks you saw on this person, Are they the type you would see in the Gambia?
Marque yooyu nga gis ci ñaas
among Gambians.
ñaas yooyu nga gis ci moom ndax nekk na ñaas yoo xam ne da nga koy faral di gis ci niti Gambia.
Taman sero min babala wonyo marque lu fudu wode delta kila Gambian ko lu delta kila le bang.
Ni so len gis sa bi nga xamne ni Gambian.
No, because if you saw them, you know that they are not Gambians. They were well built.
8 people were reportedly killed on the 23rd July 2005. 2 days later, another dead body was discovered. Olisam told the commission that a decaying dead body was also found in the bush. According to Kalilu Jallo, his boss, Couple Lamin Kamara, instructed them to bury the 9th dead body. He said he objected to that order because it was unlawful.
It's not the proper way for me to go.
Well, given that I did not know the circumstances in which they die, for them to ask me to go and bury them was something that I could not possibly want to get involved in.
ñoo xam ne nii niñ dee xama si gan anam lañ dee ma dem rek dem suul leen moo tax ma ne daal loolu jaadu ma bañ ne du ma dem.
What was the right way?
Mune musilati lindi wuti mune ñonta kala non.
Loolu lan mooy lu jaadu nag lu ñu waroon a def.
ñanta ka autorité informé no comme yow dol ke ñame no ena ya defanan evacuate ya samba for proper checking.
They should have informed the authorities just as they did in the first instance, so they can come and evacuate the body to carry out checkup.
The witnesses confirmed that the 9th dead body was buried by other PIU officers. According to him, they were asked to conceal the information by their relief commander Lamin Kamara, and it was never recorded in the police diary nor reported to their superiors. For iAfrica News, I am Kadiri Seka.
More witnesses continue to appear before the Truth Commission to give testimonies on the killings of the West African migrants. Now, the United Nations has expressed concerns in the delay of the implementation of the 2018 peace deal in South Sudan. The East African country has been engulfed in a multi-sided civil war between forces of the opposition and government. In 2018, a peace agreement was signed to restore peace in the country. But there has been growing concern over the slow application of the agreement despite ongoing peace talks.
The 2018 South Sudan peace deal set out a way forward. Various armed groups were supposed to be unified, retrained, and redeployed before a unity government could be formed. Up until now, the armies have been in training camps. The building of a national army, police and other organized forces is supposed to be happening at the moment. That exercise has not begun.
We still have many issues that are not yet in fruition, particularly the county commissioners. We still wait for those to be appointed. The critical appointments in the current state of subnational violence, the amount of subnational violence going on. We've also got, of course, the issues around the constitution, the unification of forces. All of these important parts of the peace process are still to be resolved.
The peace deal also stipulates a number of economic reforms so that South Sudan Central Bank can become fully independent. The peace agreement also provides that the Ministry of Finance should be transparent and the National Audit Chamber should be independent and carry out its work without political interference. None of those reforms have begun. The conflict isn't over, though. Armed opposition groups are still locked in battle with the government. Talks with the groups was being held in Rome but were halted because of COVID-19 restrictions. The new unity government says it has resumed talks with the groups in Kenya this week.
The spirit was actually encouraging. There was friendliness, a feeling of trying to get solutions to the problem of our people. We felt that we are all one people of the Republic of South Sudan.
The UN says it is concerned that the elections scheduled at the end of the 3-year transitional period might be delayed, which could lead to more violence in the country.
UN urges South Sudan to step up its 2018 peace agreement as it threatens the country's stability. Still on the global front, after a long break due to coronavirus pandemic, Uganda's rugby season has resumed with new format and regulations put in place by the organization. All sporting activities, including the rugby league, were halted as part of efforts to stem the spread of the virus in the country. And despite a long break due to the pandemic, players and club officials are hoping for a thrilling season ahead.
A new season is underway after almost a year out of action. Uganda's rugby league got off to a flyer with two of the country's top sides squaring off. The wait to get back on the field had been a long one, but hasn't dampened the competitive spirit.
We closed on a winning note, okay? And we intend to win this league. And the Uganda Cup and the Sevens, we're going for it all out. New team, new faces, exciting right now for the Heathens. And I can tell you, it's all out for us.
The COVID-19 crisis forced the suspension of the 2019-2020 rugby season last year, with 5 rounds of matches still to play. The absence of play since March last year had its performance knock-on effects on clubs and players. The local union is hoping for a quick recovery.
We are struggling with having the game as the level we should have been in. So COVID generally has been bad for us, but we hope that we can make the best of it now that we have begun again, and hopefully in a month or two we should be back on our feet.
The teams have hit the ground running, but going the full yard has called for some changes to be made. The league will run under a new format this time round. Teams will play sing-around for 9 weeks instead of the usual 18. And that is getting clubs already working on tight schedules. Coronavirus health protocols are a major contributing factor.
The post-COVID circumstances, we don't have much option because it's quite expensive running a league in these times. We have had to test all our 40-man squad, test all the team. We have to keep taking temperatures. So it's really costly to have an 18-game league.
For now, the limited number of 200 fans per game are getting a test of normality. While for the teams, it is all about keeping their eyes on the prize for the season's top owners.
We will now go with a short commercial break. The news continues. Stay tuned.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is the World Newscast. And to the rest of our stories. President Cyril Ramaphosa has joined the fray to urge South Africans to embrace and buy local products and services after a proudly South African Buy Local campaign was launched. The initiative aims to encourage more South Africans to buy and use local services to boost the country's economy. And the president also reveals his government's plan to increase local procurement in the next coming years.
Proudly South African is an official buy local advocacy campaign. It encourages South Africans to buy local products and use local services in order to help stimulate the economy and create jobs. This entity holds summits and an expo showcasing local products on an annual basis. This year, delivering a keynote address, President Cyril Ramaphosa urged South Africans to buy local, emphasizing that buying local is about investing in quality, sustaining local businesses, and keeping jobs at home.
Wear local, travel local, eat local, watch local content, read local authors. And this is so important that even when you go to a bookstore, go to that section that is Africa, South African. Support local music, yes. Listen to the brilliant stars that we've got in our country. So Proudly South African must move beyond just being a campaign. We want it to be a reality. It must become a mass movement that all South Africans are keen to embrace and to actively support.
Ramaphosa announced that the government plans to increase local procurement over the next 5 years, vowing to clamp down on illegal importation of goods in South Africa.
Apart from its own procurement commitments, government is working to lower the barriers to entry to make it a lot easier to establish and to grow a business in our country. We're also working to support existing manufacturers.
The president added that some industries are already on board. For instance, in the sugar sector, the government has already secured the commitment of local manufacturers of soft drinks to procure 80% of their sugar needs from local growers, including small-scale farmers. Other sectors have made similar commitments.
Automotive Master Plan, for example, aims to double the amount of job opportunities by increasing the level of local content in vehicles assembled in this country from 39% to 60%. That is a whooping increase. And the commitment to achieve that 60% is there, and I've seen it and I've heard it, and I want to touch it more and more. The Poultry Master Plan has contributed to the production of more than 1 million additional chickens every week that make their way onto the shelves in our retail stores.
Held virtually as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. The expo features more than 100 companies showcasing their products and services in a short video with an online meeting hub where buyers and sellers can connect.
Promoting and embracing local products and services is of paramount importance, according to the South African president. Now in Ghana, President Nana Addo has delivered the 2021 State of the Nation's address after the Supreme Court rejected the petition filed in by the opposition candidate challenging his legitimacy. The Ghanaian leader says he is now focused in efforts to resuscitate the country's economy after its downturn due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And despite the president's hope for more job opportunities, some parliamentarians are not convinced. Details in this report.
Hospitals will be designated.
President Akufo-Addo's State of the Nation address comes after Ghana's Supreme Court unanimously quashed a petition challenging his legitimacy. The court declared that the petition filed by opposition candidate John Mahama lacked merit. The president says his focus now is to revive the economy after a downturn caused by COVID-19.
Our overall economic growth rate for 2020 was reviewed downwards from 6.8% to 0.9%. This was done to reflect the impact of the pandemic. The fiscal responsibility rule of keeping a deficit within a threshold of 5% of GDP and a positive primary balance for every year was suspended in 2020 to enable fiscal operations accommodate the impact of the pandemic.
Ghana has begun its COVID-19 vaccine rollout and wants to inoculate 20 million people by the end of the year. The president hopes to create more jobs to support the country's economic recovery.
Government expects economic activity, which has already picked up, to do so even further following the ongoing vaccination exercise and the easing of restrictions put in place to curb the effects of the disease. We expect GDP growth to rebound strongly this year to nearly 5%, above the IMF's 2021 January projection of 3.2% growth for Sub-Saharan Africa for 2021.
President Akufo-Addo's State of the Nation address has received mixed reactions from legislators.
I was particularly happy about the railway program and then the Buankra Inland Port, which of course many young people in Ashanti region are looking up to find jobs.
He's creating the impression that everything is all right, but even the developed countries are telling their people times are hard, we have to do things differently.
The president also outlined key infrastructure development he plans to undertake by the end of his mandate in 2024. It includes the expansion of roads across the country and improving access to healthcare delivery.
President Akufo-Addo could struggle to get legislation passed during his second term in office due to Ghana's hung parliament. He will have to try and get support from the opposition party to make progress on key campaign pledges.
That was all for the world today. You can stay tuned for more of our programs. We will be back with Gambia 24 at 19:30 GMT. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
The Gambia may be the smallest country in Africa.